The 12th process of the Align Plan and Organize domain called Manage Risk, has 6 practices. The 4th practice is to articulate risk. The entities responsible for this practice are the business process owners and the Chief Risk Officer. The entity that is held accountable is the Chief Information Officer. The practice receives no inputs from internal or external sources. It generates 3 outputs, which are the risk analysis and risk reports to be used by several other processes, the results of external risk assessments to be used by the EDM3 and the APO10 processes, and the opportunities for risk acceptance to be used by the EDM3 process. The activities involved in this practice include reporting the results of the risk analysis to all the relevant stakeholders, to support the decision-making process. These reports should provide the stakeholders with detailed information on the possible losses or gains, the worst-case scenarios, the possible effects from a legal perspective, and the potential exposures. The current risk profile and the effectiveness of the risk management process should be reported as well. Any third-party risk assessments should be reflected in the risk profile. Opportunities from accepting risk that would result in higher gains should be identified and taken into consideration. The 5th practice is to define a risk management action portfolio. The entities responsible for this practice are the business process owners and the Chief Information Officer. The entity that is held accountable is the Chief Risk Officer. The practice receives no internal or external inputs, but it generates 1 output, which is the proposals for reducing risk to be used by the APO2 and 13 processes. The activities involved in this practice include maintaining an inventory of all the risk control actions that have been implemented, and categorizing the controls into classes. Each entity responsible for a business function should monitor its risk level to ensure that it is within tolerance levels. Project proposals to reduce risks should be prepared and presented. The 6th and last practice is to respond to risk. The entities that are responsible for this practice include the business process owners, the Chief Risk Officer, and most IT heads and managers. The entity that is held accountable is the Chief Information Officer. The practice receives 1 input, which is the actions to address risk management deviations from the EDM3 process. It generates 3 outputs, which are the Risk Incident Response Plan to be used by the DSS2 process, the Risk Impact Communications to be used by the APO1 and the DSS4 processes, and the Risk Root Causes by several DSS and MEA processes. The activities involved in this practice include preparing and maintaining the specific actions that will be taken when incidents resulting from the risks occur, including defining the escalation process. Incidents should be categorized, and risks should be measured if they have surpassed the tolerance levels. When the incidents occur, the response plan should be applied, and the results should be examined. The root causes of the incidents should be identified, and any required adjustments to the risk management process should be taken. Sources that provide further insights into this process include the ISO 27001 standard, the ISO 27002 standard, and the ISO 31000 standard.